We'll call this meeting to order, hopefully the final meeting of the Shared Services Panel for 2018. I'll call the roll first. Mayor Hall.
Here.
Supervisor Conover. Supervisor Leggett is excused. Supervisor Frazier.
Here.
Supervisor Simpson.
Here.
Supervisor Hogan.
Here.
Supervisor Dickinson is excused. Supervisor Merlino will be here, just he'll be a little late. Supervisor Strau.
Here.
Supervisor Thomas.
Here.
Supervisor Hyde.
Here.
Supervisor Garrity.
Here.
Mayor Blaze.
Here.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 9th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Supervisor Strauss, seconded Supervisor Garrity. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now on to discussion of the property tax savings plan. I'll draw your attention to the projector. And Supervisor Merlino is here. I'll go through this quickly, but if anybody wants me to slow down or has a question as I go through, just stop me. So the first slide, I just wanted to point out that shared services are nothing new for Warren County. We share a lot of services currently with other counties, including a few of our departments, Office for the Aging, Mental Health. We share an IDA. We're part of MEGA, as are most counties in the state and many of the municipalities. In fact, we're going to save 20% next year on our electricity. We have that resolution coming up next Friday, and we'll have a resolution at the end of the year on our natural gas as well. And you can see we do a lot with the surrounding counties. And Gene, you can testify that Lake Luzerne works with Hadley, and so we share with Saratoga County as well. Warren County has a lot of shared services, again, between the county and the municipalities. Big ones are highway maintenance services. The towns, most all of them are part of the workers' compensation pool that we run here. We have a shared purchasing initiative run through our purchasing department with the help of our shared services committee, and we do have a dedicated standing committee here for shared services. But that shared purchasing initiative, which we created an online portal for municipalities to see the state contracts and the county contracts that they can piggyback off of, as well as bids that they can take advantage of. We estimate that that has saved hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past couple of years. We're very proud of that. We have a centralized civil service. All of the school districts and all of the municipalities utilize our civil service staff, as well as the other services that are listed on this page. And this is by no means an all-inclusive list. This is just the list that immediately came to mind when we put together this presentation. Shared services with school districts. We have the Sheriff's Department now has a school resource officer program. SUNY Adirondack, which is half owned by Warren County, collaborates with the Queensbury and Glens Falls Central Schools. Those two schools also share recreation programs, transportation, and facilities. Most, if not all, of the school districts in this county are part of the healthcare consortium with BOCES. And I got to say, all of these school districts do an awful lot with BOCES for their service sharing. It's incentivized through the state aid formulas. And the county, as the last point here, has been trying to work with these school districts and BOCES with the hope of integrating them into our shared purchasing initiative. It's not really ripe yet, we felt, for inclusion in this plan, but it is something that we'll continue to pursue and hopefully utilize savings for all the players as a result of that. Our municipalities also share services between themselves. Warrensburg and Chester share an assessor, so do Bolton and Horicon. The village and town of Lake George share a multitude of services. Thank you, Mayor Blaze, for pointing a lot of those out to us. And as I already mentioned, Lake Luzerne. Now, when we're talking about saving money through shared services, we're talking about this light blue chunk of the pie, 44.5% of our property tax levy. That 44.5%, I've got to say, is generous because that slice of the pie includes things like the DA's office, the sheriff's department, the county clerk, the health department, services that were mandated to provide by the state. But we wanted to, this is traditionally the way that the county reports it on the Truth in Taxation flyer, so that's the way I wanted to present it today. Again, the savings that we're talking about through shared services is really included in a portion of that 44.5%. We don't have any credit under this program for the services that we're already engaged in, the shared services. We're required to come up with new shared services, and they're required to start on or after January 1st, 2019 in order to qualify for state matching incentives. That's a one-year match that the state will provide for savings that we can document. With that stated, we did come up with 9 brand new initiatives. 3 of them fall under information technology. You're all familiar with these initiatives. We went over them at the last meeting, but we're proud to say that we've had some very good response from all of you, from your towns, as well as the city and the village. C11 are interested in participating in the advisory services. Again, 11 interested in participating in the purchasing services. That's where our IT department will work closely with municipalities to make sure that you're getting the best deals that are out there. Antivirus pricing, we have 8 municipalities interested in that. We know we can save you money there. We got a very good yearly rate on our antivirus licenses. DPW related, the engineering services, 9 municipalities are on the list for that. Equipment sharing, we would, again, we create a portal through the online platform that we have for cooperative purchasing for all municipalities that are interested to list their highway equipment. We'll do the same, and maybe there'll be an opportunity when you need a piece of equipment, if you don't have it, rather than renting it or buying it, we'll work something out with another municipality that does have it. Joint bid for landscaping and mowing. 4 municipalities are interested in this. The county performs this with county workers. The opportunity here to save is really through, if you're doing it through contractors, and we'll work with the purchasing department to make sure that we don't end up locking you into a rate that's higher than what you're already paying if we do a combined bid on this. Other new initiatives, 7 municipalities are interested in having our county tourism department take more of an active role in local events. That will hopefully free up your staff for other activities, perhaps free up some occupancy tax dollars for additional promotions that will help your towns. The Smart Street Lighting New York initiative, that's the initiative through NYPA that Jessica Waldorf was here last time to present. I'm very excited about that. We got great participation. I know that you all independently have been moving forward with Jessica, and I continue to work with her to make sure that she has everything she needs. We could have some significant savings through this initiative. And a shared credit card contract that was brought up by Supervisor Conover, and 7 municipalities are interested in pursuing that. Now, these are the metrics that we're required to report to the state as part of this plan, which we're going to submit either later today or tomorrow morning. The local government property taxes for 2018 as a total, countywide, a little over $170 million. 38% of that is the county plus the city plus the towns plus the village. 2% of that is special districts. Those are things like fire districts, refuse, lighting, the special districts that you all have in your towns. And 60% is school districts. Now, the participants in this program that we're voting on today, your tax levies add up to a little over $65 million. So that's the entire 64.8, because all of those entities are required to participate in the plan, and the balance comes from the special districts that will save some money through this plan. The total anticipated savings, now these are my estimates based on a lot of interactions, surveys that I've had with all of you, and looking at your town and village and city budgets. I think these are conservative estimates. I try to err on the side of caution. I figured for 2019, if all 9 initiatives were enacted as we plan, would save, and this is net savings. In some cases, there are some county costs related to implementing these. So I figured a conservative net savings a little over $700,000 for 2019. For 2020, 973,000, and thereafter, I figure we could break the $1 million mark. This is how the savings breaks down by each initiative that I just went through, all 9. As you can see, the NYPA initiative is a large portion of this savings. Very exciting project, I think. And the savings as a percentage of 2018 taxes. This is the $65 million that represents the combined tax levy of all the participants. The state requires us to report this metric. So for 2019, it's a little over 1% of the total tax levy. 2020, it's about 1.5%, and thereafter is over 1.6%. Anticipated savings to the average taxpayer. The way we calculated this, you might ask, what is the average taxpayer? We took the number of parcels in the county minus the number of exempt parcels, and we divided that into the savings that we came up with. That's obviously going to be a little understated because you have residential owners that own more than one parcel as you do businesses. So again, very, very conservative figures here for 2019, $15.62 per taxpayer, $21.67 the following year, and afterwards $23.47. In actuality, it'll be a little higher. It's a difficult statistic to calculate. And the anticipated effect on property taxes, this is the final area that we have to report to the state. The state asks us to make some reasonable assumptions on how the property tax levy for all the participants will grow over the next 3 years. So we assumed that none of the entities would break the tax cap. We assumed that we wouldn't necessarily go all the way up to a 2% increase each year. We assumed for most of you 1.5%. For some of you, we assumed 0. That was based on interactions that all of us had. And then based on that increase, we then take out the savings that would be achieved if the property tax savings plan is enacted as planned. So the effect that would have is in 2019, rather than a 1.5% increase, we'd have more like a 0.5% increase. 2020, we break even, and thereafter we could start to show some savings, largely due to that NYPA program. Any discussion before we vote? Any questions? Hearing none, I want to thank Susan Savage for coming today from the Department of State to observe, and she's been very helpful with us throughout this process. Thank you, Susan. Susan did clarify process for me on the vote. We had previously stated that any no vote needed to be accompanied with a written justification. You're welcome to give a verbal justification that we'll have recorded in the minutes, and we will provide that to the state. Also, if you vote yes, if you wouldn't mind just giving a brief verbal reason for voting yes, and it can be as simple as it'll save tax dollars in my town. So we were going to do a voice vote, but in light of that updated guidance, I'll go through and call on each of you individually. So we'll start with Mayor Hall.
Yes. I think it's exciting, anytime you can save money, especially the collaboration of all the villages and the towns and the city working together, in the right direction to help the taxpayers. So it's definitely a yes from the city.
Supervisor Conover.
Yes. And just congratulations to Susan within a very prohibitive timeline with all the other issues. It's an excellent presentation today, and congratulations for good work.
Supervisor Leggett is excused. Supervisor Frazier.
Yes, and as long as we can make savings, I think it's wonderful. If we're working together, it's great.
Supervisor Simpson.
Yes. And this will support us delivering the services that we were required to more efficiently and save everybody money, so congratulations.
Supervisor Hogan.
Yes, and thank you. I want to echo Chairman Conover's, thank you for putting this together. For the town of Johnsburg, the lighting especially looks to be a very promising saving. But there's a lot of services in here that we have struggled to maintain. Thank you.
Supervisor Dickinson is excused. Supervisor Merlino.
Yes, definitely, and thank you for this great job, and I know it'll help us smaller towns, which I always preach. We get the least amount of sales tax revenue, so it will help us on our budgets. And I do have a shared service with Corinth. Corinth and Hadley are the northern part of Saratoga, and we're the furthest south in Martin County, so we do work together well. Corinth just did 1.5 miles of pavement for us and really didn't charge us anything. We just had to give them the supply of the material. So those are the things that help Littleton. Thank you.
Supervisor Strau.
Well, yes, anytime you get cooperation and shared services between municipalities, I think that's a good thing. And then if you save the taxpayers money, well, that's, of course, a significant benefit as well. So I vote yes.
Supervisor Thomas.
Yes, and nice job, Ryan. Anytime you can reduce the cost of government, it's a good thing. Makes me happy. Haven't been real happy the last couple of weeks, so good.
Supervisor Hyde.
Yes, and always happy to work together and very much interested in saving money.
Thanks. And Supervisor Garrity.
Yes, and again, kudos for the job you did, and you know, we are very excited about the street lighting one, and that could save us maybe 50% on our street lights going forward. But I thought all the items that were picked out by the committee are all good items and achievable, and it just continues our heritage of working together as a county.
And I'd like to say thank you to Supervisor Garrity for chairing this panel up until April when I came on board and doing.
You did all the work.
Well, no, you gave a good foundation. And Mayor Blaze.
Yes, and thank you to the county for all the great work that you did. Overlapping of services has been a problem in our county and across the state for many, many years, and this is a great first step towards sharing more services between all our municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you. The shared services plan is adopted. Privilege of the floor.
Can I ask this, can you send us the PowerPoint?
I absolutely will, and I'll send you all the submission to the state as well when we cross the I's and dot the T's.
It's good to have for your local town board meetings.
Absolutely. Yep, I will do that today.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Thank you all. This was a lot of interaction, a lot of work from everybody here in the room. I'm really happy with how it came out. And I know it was time-consuming when you have a lot of other important priorities, so thank you for all the work. Motion to adjourn? Supervisor Strauss, seconded Supervisor Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.